Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Indy Investor Pod. So on this episode, this is going to be a little different. I've not done an episode like this before, but I do not have a guest today or a co-host with me. What I'm going to do today is basically I'm going to be basically kind of hogging the mic today and going through something. So I did a presentation on this at a mastermind workshop seminar a couple weeks ago, and it was really kind of people brought to my attention like, hey, this is something that you really need to, share with your investors or your buyers or just any other investors that you're working with. They know, like within our market, we have a lot of relationships. We have a lot of partnerships. We work with a lot of people. I really do think that we have a servant heart as well. So, one of the reasons behind this podcast is that we like to put out, as much information to help investors whether it's Indianapolis or wherever. Indianapolis is our focus and it's what we do each and every day. But realistically, we just want to put out as much information as we can that can help other people out. So, like I said, I did a presentation on this. So this is our one-page plan of basically kind of how we operate our business for today, for this week, this quarter, this month, this year, and then in the future as well. And every business is going to be different. Whether you're flipping or whether you're wholesaling or you're acquiring rentals or anything. But if you ever want to get to the point where you are looking to scale your business or turn your passion of real estate into a business to be able to work toward what you want to be able to do. If it's leaving a legacy or, hey, I want to quit my day job and really focus on real estate, because that's what I'm going to do. You're going to need to, start acting and start operating as a business. And that's a big change. A lot of business owners go from working, it's kind of hey, this is something I like. This is interesting. I know I can do this. My buddy did a couple deals. I can do it. Then all of a sudden you're like, hey, I think I can do this. And all of a sudden you're an entrepreneur. And all of a sudden you have, a virtual assistant that's working for you, or you're working with different contractors and different, property manager and lawyers. And all of a sudden you have a business and you're like, oh crap, what do I do with that? How do I operate a business? One of the big things with that is that you can use a one-page plan to organize what you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it, who's involved, that type of thing. So I'm going to kind of share through what we do with ours. This is the one that we use, and I apologize for anybody that is, just listening to this, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening to this on. This might be one that you could go to YouTube and watch the video of it on there. If you want. But like I said, I'm just going to kind of roll through this. This is what we use for our business. This is kind of a culmination of a couple of different things. This is a little bit of some stuff from scaling up, some stuff from EOS, some stuff from Empire, some stuff from Sharper, some stuff from Brian being a teacher for 14 years, some stuff from, just my mind of like, hey, I think let's change this up or let's do this. So this is like a whole bunch of stuff rolled into one, but this is what works for our business. This is a little bit robust if you're just starting off or you're just focusing on one thing or whatever. As I've been coaching some businesses and coaching some investors and some entrepreneurs and things like that, this is something that I think I wanted to show kind of this robust version of this to show kind of what you can, get towards. Even if it's starting small, even if it's just a couple boxes, starting off, it's something that you can really grow into. But I've worked with, some business owners and some entrepreneurs and some investors that have pretty big businesses, and they're operating a business and they have team members and things like that. But still don't have it documented anywhere, still know what their goals are. And do they have their goals? Not just that, but are they sharing them with their team, or who's involved with that? And who's really hitting all these goals? Is just the owner or the leader, or the CEO responsible for everything, or who else is? So I'll kind of dig into this and kind of, share this a little bit. After I did the presentation, it was, brought to my attention that it was pretty helpful for a handful of people and definitely in that room. So I wanted to share it on here as well. So really what this is it kind of starts off with, a little bit over here on this left side is a little bit more about like kind of the overview and kind of just like the generalities of your business. And then it gets into kind of some KPIs and some quarterly stuff. And then it gets into, hey, some more, a little bit long-term goals, breaking it down to, um, individuals of who's doing it. And then it breaks into a little bit too of just like, hey, quarter by quarter, what are our goals? How do we reach them and stuff like that? So I'll just kind of roll through each one of these and kind of explain it a little bit, and then kind of dig into really how this helps businesses to be able to operate and things. So number one, if you are operating a business, and you have, especially if you want to scale in any way, you have team members or people that are working with you, for you, however it is, it's really important to stand for something. And I think the big part of that is that having core values. Like, what are those important things that are true to you, that you want to build your business off of? So what are the things that you're going to hire and fire over? What are the things that you are going to really cling to? And what are the things that you're going to build your brand on? Those are your core values. So what is important to you? And if you're interested at all, please feel free to reach out to me. I have a pretty cool exercise I can take you through and help you out with that a little bit and stuff. But just, yeah. So what are your core values? What are the things that your business, is built off of? What are the things that you stand for? But then a big thing is too, is when you start bringing if you start working with contractors, or start bringing on a property manager or lawyers or a tax advisor, or, then you actually have virtual assistants or team members, whatever it is, would you actually hire and fire people over these things? And that's what's important into your business. Our core values are, for everybody to stay humble with everything they can do, for everybody to persevere, never give up on what they're doing, for everybody to work hard, in whatever they're doing. And the last thing is to do the right thing. So those are our 4 core values. That's what we stand on as a business, just to be transparent and kind of put those out there a little bit as well with that. Along with your core values, you want to have some kind of a mission. So what is, not just what are the values that you're built off of, but what is the mission, or what is the purpose? Whatever that may be. It could be core purpose, or just purpose, or mission statement, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to throw out some terms. I'll just throw that out here too. I'm going to say some terms, and there are a bunch of different things that they can be called and stuff. So mission, purpose, core purpose, whatever it is. What is that thing what's that one line that you really stand behind? What's the thing that you want to accomplish? Maybe it's to leave a legacy to hand over to your kids when you retire, or, whatever it may be. To maybe your purpose for the next 10 years is to get out of your day job and just focus on real estate, whatever that is. Or maybe it's to, build an orphanage overseas, or, build a house for people that can't afford a Mexico, whatever that is. Maybe it's a big purpose, maybe it's a smaller purpose or whatever, because you're still trying to figure it out. But whatever that mission is, or that purpose is, make sure you have that. I think you need to spend some time thinking about that and digging into it. Next, so these are kind of, these are overview things. These are things that encapsulate what you want to do, who you are, and how you want to operate your business. Next, we're going to dig into a little bit of what are your 3-year goals. And you can do, however, I know some people have, if you're an EOS person, you might have heard of the BHAG, or, that big, hairy, audacious goal, or, kind of some of those things. They might have a 10-year goal, a 30-year goal I've heard of, or a 5-year goal, or whatever. We do a 3-year goal. I'm just like, here, where do we want to be in 3 years? And that's kind of like how we break that down a little bit. We'll talk about the vision and some of that BHAG stuff down here a little bit too. But with those 3-year goals is that we basically kind of want to, so those 3-year goals, I want to know, hey, what is our revenue? What does that look like money wise? Like, where would we want to be, money wise? And, what do we want that revenue to be, when it comes to our business? Then we need profit. Revenue is always nice to know, and always nice to know what that big number is, but profit's the main thing. Like, how much are, not how much are you, kind of bringing in, but how much are you keeping? That's the most important thing. So where do we want our profit to be? How many deals do we want to be doing? So whether it's bringing in deals for a rental portfolio, or flipping properties, or wholesaling, whatever it is, how many deals do we want to be doing altogether? And then we have, profit per deal. How much are we making on any of those things? Does it make sense for us to continue to do it? And then really, kind of the healthiness of your business is, what is the net profit percentage? Of what are you operating at for everything that you're bringing in, and then for everything you're keeping, what percentage is that? That's really going to determine kind of how healthy your business really is, and how sustainable your business is when you look at that net profit percentage. Some of the other things I'll go over here as well, kind of over on this left side. Like I said, this is kind of an overview type thing. The next thing is, like, based off of your business, how do you determine profit? Like, is it profit divided by how many rentals you're getting, profit divided by how many flips you're doing, profit divided by how many wholesalers you're doing, profit divided by all of them together, whatever it is. What is that key measure of your business? How are you going to determine how well you're doing on each of the things you're doing within the business? Next, I kind of talked about before, is this is kind of just your vision or your BHAG, a little bit of what it was. So it's kind of funny, actually. We went through a phase this year of where we didn't have a BHAG. We kind of lost it because Brett, when he was the owner of the company and he was the CEO of the company, he did not, like, his BHAG was to build a business to get out of the business. He wanted to secede from the business. He wanted to, have that succession plan to be able for the business to be able to operate without him. And then that happened. And it was, it was a lot sooner than any of us thought it was going to happen, but that happened. And we're like, oh my gosh, we don't have a BHAG. And then we had to really take it, we had to take some time to figure out, hey, what do we want it to be now? What do we really want to accomplish? What do we want to do? And that was us to come up with too. But as a business owner, business leader, that's something that you need to make sure you know what it is. And it doesn't have to be, it should be something big. It should be a little bit of a stretch goal. It should be something that you are looking to do. Maybe it's, I want to give over, in my lifetime, I want to give away $10 million to charities. If that's what it is, like that's awesome. That's a great vision. And that's a great, huge goal. But what is that thing? And put it on there. Coming to that too, who are you serving? Who are the people that you are looking to, that core customer? Who are you looking to do? Maybe within your business, maybe there's multiple people. For us in our business as a wholesale company, we have multiple customers. We have the sellers, we have the buyers, we have the investors. Our investors in our business and stuff like that. So there are a lot of people that are our core customers. So identify those people. Know who you are working for, looking to help. Identifying those people is really important to your business as well, because when you can take care of these people, that's when your big vision is going to happen. So it's important to identify those. Next, we have something on here too. We just talk about our brand promises. Like, what are the things that we promise, the things that we want to stand by? I mentioned one of our core values is do the right thing. That fits into some of our brand promises as well. If we tell you we're going to buy your house, we're going to buy your house. Like, it's one of the promises that we keep. We're not going to back out of it. We're not going to renegotiate. That's not something we do. That's something that we want to hold to. So that's one of those brand promises and things. Maybe one of your brand promises is like, hey, if I make an offer on a deal, like, I'll be able to get my contractor in and give you a final projection within 2 days. Or, hey, within my offer, it like means I need 5 days to do an inspection. And that's it. I can give you a day after that. So, but know what those promises are. What are the things that you can promise to people that are feeding you deals, or how you're building your business, or people for those core customers? Like, what are the things that you can promise them? And that's one of the things you can start thinking about to separate yourself from your competitors. There's a lot of talk right now, especially with a lot of investors around Indianapolis, of just how competitive it is and how hard, deals are to come by and things. For people that are saying that, I would say too, what are those brand promises that you can promise? What are some things that you can promise and maybe somebody else can't? And make sure you're including those in those deals. Make sure you're including those in the conversations you're having with the people that are sourcing your deals. I think those things are important. Next, what is that critical number for your business? A lot of real estate businesses, if you look at that critical number of really what it is, and we have two spots on here because we look at one on the buy side and one on the sale side for us. But that critical number for us is offers. We know that is the most important thing within our business, is making offers. If we can make as many offers as we can, obviously that helps us get deals. That helps us bring deals in. On the other side too, on the selling side, same thing. Our critical number is offers on the dispo side as well, because that tells us how great our properties are that we are buying, and how great our properties are that we are selling to our investors. If we are, hey, are we shortchanging ourselves? Are we taking the first deal that comes across our plate, or are we listening to other offers? Are we getting our properties out there in front of as many people as we can to be able to receive more offers? And also, are we receiving multiple offers? Because yes, it's a great property. It's a solid property. It's going to have multiple offers on it. We know we're buying right. We know we're analyzing right. We know we're doing that right. So our critical numbers that we really look at are, how many offers are we making on the sales side or on the buy side? How many offers are we receiving on the buy side? Those are our two critical numbers. So for your business, what are you doing? Are you a flipper? Are you sourcing your properties through wholesale or through the MLS? Like, that's great, but how many offers are you putting in? How many offers do you need to be putting in a day? How many offers do you need to be putting in a week? how many offers do you need to be putting in a month to be able to reach your goals? If you're putting out 10, if you're getting one deal for every 10 offers you're putting out, you wanted to do 10 deals this year, well, guess what? You need to make 100 offers this year. Do you know those numbers? Do you know what that critical number is for your business? And kind of talk about, this is a little bit, these kind of get a little bit confused with the brand promises or things that hold true. Maybe the things that you're going to make sure that you promise to your customers. And then you have the differentiators. What are the things that you do different? And I think that's really important within any business, especially in a real estate business. Like, real estate businesses are competitive, but you need to always be thinking of what is something that we can do. I mean, I think of every day, like, hey, what's something that we can do that Clay and Evan aren't, or what's something that we can do that, New Paradox isn't, or what's something we can do that, Ben isn't, all those people, all of our competitors, all the people that we're kind of competing against. We got some great friendly competition going on. There's some amazing people that are operating here in Indianapolis. I love working with them. I love competing against them and things, but what are some things that we can do that's different than them? So in your business too, what are some things that you can do that are different from those other people that are buying turnkey properties? Or, what are those other things that you can do for your tenants that other people can't, that you can provide? So there's differentiators that are going to set yourself apart. The sandbox, we call this sandbox. This is where we like to play. What's our bread and butter? Like, if I could do one deal this year, what would it look like? Like, what is that avatar for that perfect deal, or for that perfect thing that we do? Like I said, this is the sandbox. This is where we love to play. You think you might have heard of like the 80-20 rule. Like, where are 80% of your stuff coming? Where's 80% of your business coming from? That's your sandbox. That's where you need to be playing. That's where you need to be focusing. That's where you need to be adjusting and really digging into the data from that thing. So that's why we definitely like to put that on there and talk about that. And sometimes that changes that's changed a couple of times depending on how the market is working for us and how we want to operate within our business and stuff. But something that we definitely want to go over and things. So I will say, so just before I kind of move on to like kind of the next step, this is stuff right here within this box that I've just kind of gone over here. So the core values, the mission, the 3-year goal, the BHAG, the brand promises, the critical numbers, the differentiators, the sandbox, the core customers. This is all stuff we reevaluate every year. So we have a yearly meeting and we go through all these things. Is this still us? Is this still holding true? Now, we mention it, like, we go through our core values very often with our team. I expect our team to be able to kind of recite these. I expect our team to be able to recite the mission, those types of things. But, these are things that we kind of, within this box here, these are things that we kind of evaluate on a yearly basis. And the other stuff I'm going to get into is stuff that we evaluate on quarterly basis or monthly basis. As I get into this, some of it's a little bit weekly as well. So the next thing we kind of get into is, and something that we like to do is, for every year, we like to come up with a theme for that year. We like to say, kind of come up with what is going on. Example, last year, our theme was consistency. That was our theme for the year last year. And then COVID happened, and it was very hard to be consistent and to figure that out. Things are going to happen. Whatever you put on the sheet is not something that it's not, the Bible. It's not going to hold true, through and through. It might have to change. It might not, you might fall on your face. You might not hit all these goals. You might not be able to do all this thing. But it's about going through the process of having those thoughts out there and working with you and your wife, or you and your team, or you and your property manager, or whatever, going through, you and your business coach, going through some of those things and digging into, hey, what do I want to happen, and what do I want to happen for this year and things. So we like to come up with a theme for each year. And then within that, we also like to come up with a quarter theme. And we do that at the beginning of the year. Actually, we do it at the end of the year for the next year. But we come up with a theme for the year. And then within that, we come up with quarter themes as well. So for first quarter, what do we want that theme to be? Where do we want to really put our focus for that first quarter? Second quarter, same thing. Where do we want to focus? If we do first quarter and second quarter well, what should our theme be for third quarter? Where should we be? And then how do we want to finish strong? How do we want to finish that year off? What is that fourth quarter theme? So we kind of do that. We put these little themes in there, and then kind of dig into those a little bit. So next on here, we kind of have a little area here for our scorecard, our KPIs, our numbers. What are the numbers that are going to drive our business? The numbers that I want to go over with my leadership team on a monthly basis of, hey, we have tons of scorecards. We have a scorecard for every department. We're going through over some of that stuff daily. We're going over some of that stuff weekly. But these are the bigger ones that we're going to kind of dig into to see kind of, are we on track for what we're going to do? And everything like that. And everything's going to look a little bit different. So, for us within our real estate business, it might look like, hey, what is the company revenue? Is what does that look like? How many deals do you want to do for the year? What do you want that cost per deal to be? Is there a maximum that you want your cost per deal to be? And then if it gets over that, do you need to change your marketing tools, or do you need to change your strategy? Do you need to do something different? Or if it gets below that, are you like, hey, let's double up. Let's throw some more money into marketing. Let's do that. Can I sustain that? Maybe I hire another person if my, cost per deal is going so good, whatever it may be. So cost per deal is something we want to track throughout the entire year. How many flips we do, how many rentals we're buying, what's the profit for each of our deals, what's the gross profit, what's the net profit, what is the net profit percentage. So a lot of these numbers are the same thing is, we talked about some of these numbers up here in the 3-year goal, but it's really taking those 3-year goals and breaking down, okay, if we want to reach these 3-year goals, what do we need to do this year? So digging into that. So those are our KPIs, they're key performance indicators. There's another thing too called key process indicators. That's a whole other podcast, a whole other episode on digging into kind of what the process things are that's really driving your business and the numbers behind that. But those are the KPIs. So key performance indicators of what you need to, or what's going to drive your business and what that is. The next thing we're going to do within those, we're going to take those same numbers and we're going to move over here and we're going to talk about those numbers. And this is what I kind of fill out monthly to basically make sure we're staying on track for the year. So for example, let's say that we want, let's say the number of deals. So our number of deals, we've done 300 deals over the last 5 years. So our goal is to do, 300 deals. That's what we want to be able to do this year. We want to become I'll just be transparent as we're digging into this. Like our goal is not to necessarily do more deals. It's to become more efficient with what we're doing. That's our goal this year, is like becoming more efficient and more consistent with what we need to do. But efficiency is that big thing. So we don't want to do more deals necessarily. We need to shore up what we're doing and do a better job with what we're doing with our deals and stuff like that. So, number of deals I put, if I'm looking to do 300 deals in a year, maybe we're at 100 deals by the end of, April. So if we do that, I'm going to have 100 in here, and then I'm going to be able to okay, we're 33% close to our goal. Okay. So I'm going to put the number at the end of each month. I kind of put the number in there so I know where we are compared to that, to the KPI. And I'm going to put the percentage in there so I know what percentage are we to achieving that goal. And then I'm also going to mark those things. I'm a big fan of just the stoplight method. A lot of businesses use this. I think it works really well. If we're on track for it, I'm going to mark it green. Like it's a go. We're doing a good job. If it's getting a little iffy, like, oh man, our numbers, I'm not too happy with them. Like, I'm not sure where we need to watch this. We need to look at this. I'm going to mark it yellow. That stands for monitoring a little bit. I'm going to pay attention to it. I'm going to see what's going on with it. And if we're behind, I'm going to mark it red. Like it's a big warning. Like I want it to stand out a little bit. It's going to be red of like, hey, we need to stop. We need to think. We need to adjust. We need to make some changes within what we're doing. Maybe it's a process thing. Maybe it's a system thing. Maybe it's a person thing. And we need to evaluate that and change that up. So that's kind of how we go through and kind of track some of those numbers, track some of our KPIs within that. Next, let's see. I'm going to come down to this kind of thing. So this area down here, this is where we track kind of our key long-term moves, midterm moves, 1-year initiatives, and then individual priorities. So let me kind of explain this a little bit. So your key long-term moves are going to maybe come out of, a couple different things. It might come out of your mission, might come out of your BHAG or your vision. But what are the key long-term things that you want to be able to do? Maybe it is that you want to, let's go back to that one thing of like, if you want to donate $10 million, to charities, throughout your life, or before you retire, maybe that's one of your key long-term moves. You put that in here. Then what is the midterm move to be able to do that? It's basically like, hey, I want to be able to donate $5 million by the time I am 45. Maybe that's that key long-term move that you need to be able to get there. So for you to be able to donate eventually $10 million and then halfway through that, $5 million by a certain age, what do you need to do this year? So what is the one thing you need to do this year is maybe you want to get to the point where you want to determine what percentage of your net profit are you donating? Maybe that's the one thing that you need to analyze your numbers, analyze your data, and figure out what that percentage is. Maybe it's, I will donate $100,000 by the end of the year. Maybe that's your, that's your one term or 1 year goal, whatever it may be. And then individual priorities are, what do people within it? Maybe it's not you. Maybe it is you, maybe it isn't you. What is the one other thing that people need to do? Maybe the individual priority is to find the charity that you want to donate it to, and network with the people that run the organization and get that figured out. Maybe you need to talk to your bank to set up a separate fund or whatever that may be. Maybe one of your key long-term moves is that you want to flip a total of 100 properties over the next 10 years. Okay. Well, if you want to do that, what do you need to do within 5 years? Where do you need to be? Maybe you need to have, 3 crews up and running. Maybe you need to be, at 30 properties by then, working on your efficiencies, getting to that point. Well, this year, what I need to do, I need to find 1 contracting crew that I can work with on a consistent basis, and I want to flip 3 homes. And then individual priorities for that is, I have to find that construction crew. I need to network. I need to find that right thing. I need to try out 3 different crews to find the one, whatever it may be. So that's kind of how that works out. So you're going to set up that, what are the key long-term moves? And what do you need to do halfway through that to get to that point? What do you need to do this year? And then what do you need to do yourself, or what specific person on your team needs to be doing, a certain thing to be able to get to that point? So, next, I'm going to head and just come on down here. So this next part is, I mentioned before that we do quarter themes. So what we want to do is basically within that first quarter, we're going to put that theme in there, and then we put our metrics in there. What are our goals for that quarter? Where do we need to be? After the quarter, what are our actual numbers? And then, are we ahead? Are we behind? How do we need to adjust? How do we need to change second quarter goals? Things like that. So one of the things that I did keep in here, I did kind of keep my numbers, and I'll share that a little bit just because I think it's worth mentioning. So one of the things that a lot of people like to do is, let's say that you want to wholesale 100 homes this year. Maybe that's your goal for real estate. You want to wholesale 100 homes this year. Well, a lot of people just do, okay, for each quarter, then I need to wholesale 25 homes, because they just take it and divide it by 4. One of the things so we used to do that all the time, just take whatever our yearly goal was, divide it by 4, split it up between the quarters. And for some reason, we always fell short in first quarter and fourth quarter. And we did really well in second and third quarters. Basically what I did is I looked back at all the data and looked back at all the analytics and looked at where we were from the last 8 years. And what I realized, and I came up with these percentages and I left them in here, so I thought I'd share them with you guys. But what I realized is first quarter usually accounts for about 23% of our business throughout the year. So I've used that data to help me analyze and help set our goals. So if we want to wholesale 100 properties this year, my first quarter goal should be 23 properties, not 25. That's just a small number, but that can make a difference of like, hey, yes, we hit it, or hey, we didn't hit it and we needed to change things. So having that first quarter, or if that first quarter really just, I wanted to keep that in here, and just share that with you guys about our first quarter came about 23% of what our yearly numbers were. Our second quarter was about 27%. So second quarter ended up being pretty good, or usually pretty good. It ends up being about 27% of our business. Our third quarter is usually about 30% of our business. So what we do throughout the year, third quarter usually makes up about 30% of that. So that's a pretty big difference when you're talking about certain numbers of, that's a difference of, we're talking going back to the 100 deals because it's nice and easy to talk about, difference of 7 deals, that's a pretty big difference, but we realized that's kind of what it was. And then for the fourth quarter, we realized that, November, December slowed down a lot of times for us. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Last year, December was one of our best months. So you never know. But anyway, for fourth quarter, if I looked at the analytics from the last 8 years, fourth quarter usually accounts for about 20%. Well, we could never hit our fourth quarter goals there for a while because we were trying to shoot for that, 1/4 of the year. Well, really, it's 1/5 of our year if we look at our data from the past. So when I set our goals like that, by those certain percentages, 23% for first quarter, 27% for second quarter, 30% for third quarter, and 20% for fourth quarter, that helped us understand our numbers a little bit more and why we were doing so well in some quarters compared to our goals. In some quarters, we were falling a bit short. When we adjust our numbers, now it helps me set our goals in a much more realistic manner. So with that, we put our themes in there, set our goals. Like I said, our numbers again of like where we ended up, and then are we ahead or behind on where we need to do? How much do we need to catch up? This last little thing that we have over here on the side is just each quarter we sit down at the beginning of the quarter and we go through and we set SMART goals for the year. You could call them, just quarterly goals, you call them quarterly rocks, pebbles, whatever you want to call them. What they are SMART goals. As a teacher, we used to set SMART goals all the time with our students. A SMART goal. A SMART goal stands for, it's an acronym, SMART. So it stands for something that is specific. So the goal that you set, is it specific for your business? Is it specific enough? It can't be a vague thing or too broad. It needs to be specific with what you actually want to target. Is it measurable? So can you actually measure if you accomplish it or not? Is there some kind of tangible thing you say, hey, yep, it's done. I accomplished it because I hit this metric. Is it measurable? You need to be able to do. Is it attainable? Doesn't make sense. If I shared with you guys, for the last 5 years, we've wholesaled 300 deals a year. Well, it wouldn't be smart for me to come in at the beginning of the year and say, okay, our goal is going to be 1,000 deals this year. That doesn't make sense because, that's not attainable based off the data. We want to use the analytics. We want to use the numbers. We want to use the data to pull in what we want to do. So is it attainable? Doesn't make sense. Is it relevant? Is the goal relevant for your core values? Is it relevant for your mission? Is it relevant for your vision? All those things. So is it relevant to what you want to do within your business? Lastly, is it time-based? So is it given a time frame? It needs to be accomplished by, the end of third quarter, or it needs to be, this needs to be accomplished by the end of, the next 6 weeks or whatever it may be, but make sure there's a time frame on it too. So that's what SMART stands for. You're talking about SMART goals. Is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it attainable? Is it relevant? And is it time-based? And SMART is so SMART right there. So what we kind of do is we have first quarter SMART goals. And the way I like to break it down is like, what are the different aspects of my business? So I kind of break it down by department. All the different departments within our business, we like to have one SMART goal for each of those departments, and then a couple other like just general, maybe company ones as well. So I always look at like, hey, what are the goals that we want to set? So the SMART goals we want to set, what department do they fall under? What category do they fall under? And then who is responsible for that? Brian isn't going to be responsible for all of our goals this quarter. Randy is, Ronnie is, Anna is, whoever else is on that leadership team for you, who is responsible for that, and maybe for your goal, maybe you just have one SMART goal for each quarter, depending on what your size is. Maybe you have two, whatever it is. But that's where we kind of fit those in there. So we go through, we set these at the beginning of each quarter before each quarter starts. So we analyze what we did last year or what last quarter off of our SMART goals. And then we look at like, hey, what are we going to do for this next quarter and set those up. So we got places in here where we can go back and evaluate for our second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. So I hope this was helpful. Hopefully I didn't drown on too much. If you have any questions or have any, want to learn more about this, or even if you just want a copy of our blank one, I'd be more than happy to send it to you. That's not a problem at all. But if you need help with any of this stuff, I would love to, that's what we're here for. That's what we want to do is help any of our investors out. We know what it's like to go from having a starting business to growing it, to scaling it, to be able to, in our case, we had somebody succeed from it, and we had to like kind of go back and make sure it's profitable and expanding and all those things. So if you're going through any of that, like reach out, like get some help. That's one of the things I love about the Indianapolis investing community is that I feel like we have a lot of people that are willing to, put some time in, put some effort in, and and share some stuff as well. So that's definitely something that I want to put out there, help you guys with. Hopefully you found this valuable. Like I said, I did a presentation on it. It was really well received. So I thought I would share it on here, and I thought it would be good. I specifically told like, hey, your investors and some of your buyers and people in your community could use this. So that's what I'm going to share on here. So hopefully that helped. And with that, if you need anything at all, feel free to reach out to me at brian@simplewholesaling.com. I'm more than happy to help you out. And with that, that is a wrap for this episode of the Indy Investor Pod, and we will see you guys next time. Take care.